Hey y'all. So this is a surprise podcast. I didn't plan this. I didn't plan on doing another one with me ranting or talking about anything, but I felt the need to. The name of this podcast, this project is Tragic America, and there is a political aspect to it. There always kind of was. Um, a few days ago, what was it, a week ago now? Maybe not even, 5 days ago, Charlie Kirk got shot. So I know you guys see this all over the internet and you're probably tired of even hearing it at this point, but I've never seen any event happen where it literally took the entire internet by storm. And I mean, it was all over Twitter. It was all over Instagram. It was all over Facebook. It was all over every app that you could think of. Um, and it's for many reasons, this situation is fucked up. First, the obvious. He got assassinated, shot in the neck in front of his wife and kids while debating gun violence. Um, God rest his soul. God, I pray for his family. Let me say that first off. Now, because again, this project, I tend to look into things a little bit more than normal people. I don't really believe the, um, what do you say, legacy media, I guess. Their original story fell apart. And then you hear more, then they're coming out with more, and other people are getting in trouble. And it's like, what exactly is going on? And then you dig a little bit more into it, and you find out that there's more to the story, just like any other story. Now, Turning Point was an organization that Charlie Kirk started when he was like 18 years old. And plan was to get a bunch of chapters, a bunch of people together that would, you know, speak not just conservative but common sense. Go to campuses and debate, but friendly debate. Yes, he was a Christian, uh, first and foremost, but he always never put anyone really down in the debate. He would talk to anyone. He would get set up a lot. Um, Now Turning Point is, I guess you can say, a Judeo-Christian organization. They're funded by Christians, Jewish people, Jewish, organizations, and it was Christ. He preached Christ, but it was. I started to look at about a month, 2 months, 3 months before his death, and this is a hard subject to even get on. But he started to question Israel as far as the genocide, the famine, how they were. Um, 2 years in, and how they were handling the war. And he started questioning it. He had people on, I think he had Dave Smith on, and someone else actually debated at a Turning Point event. He was big on, he rallied Trump not to bomb Iran, like himself. And Trump, like, literally had to turn to him and, like, put him in his place. Um, he was very open about Epstein and him believing Epstein was a Mossad asset and possibly a CIA asset, and that Trump was in the files. The days leading up to this, he was getting a lot of slack from Israel. There were articles getting written about him, and you can see him on Megyn Kelly if you go on YouTube and him talking about it, and just the hate that was coming towards him. And he actually seemed a bit fearful. And he was a moderate. He supported Israel. I mean, all the way. He was asking questions. Okay. So then we find out that Bill Ackman, who is a Wall Street billionaire, sets up a meeting with Charlie Kirk. I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. And it's out in the Hamptons, and was it Seth Silverman there and a few other prominent Zionists at the meeting. And he goes in, and Benjamin Netanyahu, to get him on the phone with him. And he tried to give him more funding towards Turning Point. Charlie Kirk denied the money. Benjamin Netanyahu offered him a trip to Israel. He denied it. And apparently it didn't end well, that meeting. Um, Now, like I said, in the days that led up to it, Charlie Kirk was on Megyn Kelly. He spoke with Tucker Carlson. He spoke with other people about these concerns, about him just asking questions. He's like, I don't understand why I'm being called an anti-Semite. I, I stand for Israel. I stand for Jewish people. I'm just asking questions. But he was getting hit pieces written about him. He was getting attacked with bot farms. He was getting stuff written in Israel about him. I'm not sure exactly how far, but I know he was concerned. With that being said, whoever shot him, and I don't believe it was the 22-year-old. I think that was kind of like a Oswald Kennedy thing. He was, maybe he let a shot off, maybe he didn't. Um, but that was a professional marksman. That was a pro fucking assassin, because not only did he could have just did a headshot, could have did that. No, he got him right in the jugular, where it killed him instantly. But not only that, it was just the message it sent and the shockwaves it sent throughout the US was chilling, because it's all about free speech. And whoever knows me well enough knows that's what my platform's always been about, and what I've always been battling: free speech and the limits to free speech. Now, maybe this is just how it looks. I don't know. Maybe it could be possibly, it's all I know is it's not just this 22-year-old kid that they're making out to look like a far left lunatic, because then they started pumping a bunch of propaganda on the internet after that. And that's their way of battling it nowadays, because everything happens so fast. Everyone has phones. So right when it happened, all this propaganda, and it had to get recanted. You could see the guy behind him doing all these signals before he gets shot. Then he gets shot. And then a guy in the crowd, an old man in the crowd, makes a ruckus. He gets arrested. And then you look into his history and you find out that he's involved, doing an interview with something about 9/11. And it's just, and then another guy, there's a picture of a guy running, and then supposedly the shooter changes his clothes in the middle of this attack, but they find him 33 hours later, 33, and when they find him, he's back in his old clothes. So something about that doesn't make sense. I mean, nothing about that really makes sense. Why would you put back the clothes that you were in the shooting with? You were already out of the clothes. Take a shower. It's been 33 hours. You were on a roof. You know? And that's not even counting the fact that there's pictures of him walking to the roof. They said the gun was in his pants, but you could see you could see his knees bending. You could see when he's leaving, his knees bending. Supposedly he took it apart and they found a screwdriver there. But when they found it, it was all back together again, like Humpty Dumpty. I think what it is, and I speak for myself, but I know many others are just tired of the lies. They're tired of it. They're tired of the gaslighting, the lies, the BS. And there's no way to get any type of faith back in our government after COVID if these lies continue. And that is one of the main reasons why people want to know and want to see the full Epstein files, or whatever you want to call it, because they want to see who was behind that. And if that's still a play today, and people are still being blackmailed in the political arena by a foreign nation, possibly. Now, I'm not saying our government is completely, innocent in this. I'm sure the CIA was somewhat involved in this too, but it's just, a lot of questions are being asked, and I'm trying to find out, are there actually limits to free speech? And I believe there are. I mean, obviously there are, if you're effective. With that being said, nothing is concrete. But I would advise everyone to watch Candace Owens' episode that she did last night on this. There's a lot of other information. You guys could follow this all on your own. Watch the Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro interview. That was the last interview he did, where he was questioning Israel and Palestine and the war and everything there. And it just seemed like something is off. whether he was pushing the Epstein narrative too far, whether he was going against um, Israel too far, whether he was going against Trump's interests too far. But it was one of the most gruesome things I've seen, and it affected me, and I believe a lot of other people on here, because I've never seen something so widespread on social media. But it affected me a way that I didn't expect it to, where like I felt it in my stomach. I felt that shot against free speech, that shot that killed a man in front of his wife and his kids, and there was people celebrating it. Like, I don't care if you are Democrat, Republican, what you believe in, independent, if you're a fucking Buddhist, if you're whatever the fuck you are. What level are you at mentally to be celebrating anyone's death just because they think different than you? That's sick. That's fucking sick. Like, straight up. And I hope this doesn't ramp up any more violence. I hope it doesn't ramp up a civil unrest. I hope it's not a setup to ramp up a civil unrest. And have martial law, something like that. But you never know. You never know. Um, all this political violence needs to stop, man. You have the media, you have the government, and you have these different, bot farms on and I'm not kidding you, the last check on Twitter. I think it was said by intelligence that was 80% bots. And I believe it. I believe it. We have to realize that bots and bot farms and different, foreign agencies are pushing the narrative to spread division. And the legacy media spreads division. Because guess what? The last thing they want is us uniting. But I think it's even worse now. I think they want a complete civil unrest. You guys see what's going on. I hope you see what's going on in London, in Europe right now with the riots because of all the mass immigration. Um, there's definitely some shit going on in the world, and we'll talk about a lot of that. But I'm trying to keep this about Kirk. He definitely probably would have wound up being a future president. That's another thing. But it was definitely a special dude. And it's going to be surprising to see who tries to fill his shoes. It's going to be surprising to see how people respond to the evidence that has been brought out and the allegations that have been brought out, if they do at all, which I believe it might be pushed in this situation, as well as the Epstein files. Because get this, 3 hours after his death, the vote failed to release the Epstein files. 3 hours. I believe the truth is going to come to the light. I love this country. I love this country. I think we're the best country in the world, but I think we all need to change. We all need to disavow any type of violence. We all need to learn that all of this division is not real. It's caused by the media, by these foreign bots, by these social media platforms, by any other form of media that you see or hear that's political. There's always an agenda. So keep that in mind and stop. Let's stop the division. Let's stop the division. Because guess what? There's all these ideologies at play, but the price of food's still going up. The price of gas is still going up. The price of homes is still going up. The price of insurance is still going up. And you got a whole generation of people that are, went to college thinking they were going to get a job, and now they don't have one, or they're not making anything what they thought, and they have a shitload of student loans, and it's impossible to buy a house. So while they have us distracted with all this other shit, who's using what bathroom, and this person's doing story time, and this person had a trans boyfriend, and fucking all these ideologies, like political shit, sewage as they pump it. Just remember, they're never talking about the real issues. And when they do, they'll make promises and they'll try to extend them and extend them and extend them. And Trump, I had a lot of hope for Trump. I did. And maybe I still do, but It's not looking so good. Let's just say that. From what I could say, from what I can see, from what I know, he's made at least 8 billion in the 8 months he's been there. Probably more, probably over 10 billion. The Trump organization, and from his coins, from crypto, from hotels and casinos going up in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, he's gotten rich as fuck. On top of that, he has named a bunch of pieces of water and land different things, like the American Canal and the Gulf of America, whatever. Besides that, the immigration, the numbers came out, and I think he was able to deport 140,000 people. Now, if he stays on that rate, he will deport a significant less amount of people than Obama. So you got to start to question everything. And he does not seem like the same Trump. Not since Epstein's been brought up, not since he doesn't seem like the same Trump of the first term. It's almost like he became the deep state in a way. And I know I had hope. A lot of people still have hope, and I still have a little hope. But is he under someone else's control, whether it be in or out of our government? Is he compromised? Can he only do so much? Or is there something that's going to happen that's just going to be like, whoa, the money system's changed? And that's a possibility too. The Genius Act passed. They are shooting for a central digital currency in the near future, I'm sure. But what would that do with our $37 trillion worth of debt? And the fact that we're losing 4,600 jobs a day due to AI already. Already. So this is not something that's going to happen in the future. It's something that's happening now. So we're all going to have to adapt. It's a shame. A good man was killed. I would say, I would compare him to our day's version of Martin Luther King. I mean, he preached Christ, he preached peace, debated, um, but he was even more famous because of social media. That's all. Like I said, it hit everybody a certain way, but the only thing we could do from here on, the only thing that he has said and would want us to do is stop the violence, stop the division, search for truth. For me, the one truth I know, with all the propaganda, all the different theories, all the this, that. Now, I could be saying this, and that could be what they want people to think, but it could be something totally different. Who knows? I could be dead ass wrong, and so could many other people. And we're at a time now where we're not really going to know unless we search around and kind of go with our gut. And even then, this could all be a show. For real. With that being said, I pray for our country. I pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. And the one truth that I know, and I don't fault anyone for what they believe in, what they are, as long as you're not an asshole, I'll talk to anyone and respect everyone. But my one truth is God and Jesus Christ. And I was an atheist for many years until I saw, and I don't just believe, I know. And that's the one truth that I stick on to and hold on to, because as time goes by, I cannot even predict 5 years in the future where we'll be. But I'll hold on to that truth. I'll do my best to adapt, and we'll make it. We'll make it. For now, one day at a time, this has got to change. It's got to change. No more division. And that is it for my episode tonight. Not too long, not too long. I just had to post something about this because it's been weighing on my heart. And as I've been finding out more information on it, it has been weighing on my heart that, again, we are getting gaslit by mainstream legacy media. With that being said, love y'all. I'll have a new podcast out in a few days.